Hi everyone, and welcome to this session where we're going to focus on creativity with Keynote in special education. I'd just like to start today by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands on which we all work today and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. My name is Laura Meney and I'm an Apple Professional Learning Specialist. I'm also a teacher and I teach in a special school for students with intellectual disabilities. My interest and passion in this area came about back in 2011 when I was teaching in a special school here in Victoria. And our school was part of the iPads for Learning trial back in 2011. What we saw through the course of that trial was that the iPad opened up lots of different opportunities for our students to access and express their learning in a range of creative ways. And when we moved to a one-to-one iPad programme in 2012, we really saw further opportunities to personalise learning for each and every individual student. A major focus of our work, and something that I've continued with to this day, is to try and connect the hands-on learning experiences, the active learning experiences that are so engaging and important for our students, with the use of the iPad to capture that learning. And then for students to use either those photographs or videos to create content and create a product that helps them to demonstrate what they've learned. So that's what we're going to have a look at today. So our focus is going to be around the Keynote app, which hopefully everyone has already on their iPads. For today's session, I would suggest that you watch this workshop on a separate device and then have your iPad with the Keynote app in front of you so that you can follow along with the demonstrations as we go along and create your own products. So if you just check that you have the Keynote app installed, and if you can check that it's up to date, you've got the latest version, then we'll be good to go. So Keynote, for those of you who are not familiar with the app, it comes with your iPad. We call it a native app. It's primarily designed as a presentation tool, but in reality, there's so much that you can do with Keynote. It's one of the most flexible tools that we have available to us. In addition to traditional things like text and images that we might see on a presentation, we can also include a range of different media like video, voice recordings, music. We can create music in GarageBand, for example, and bring that into Keynote. We can include drawings either with our finger or with Apple Pencil. There's a whole bank of shapes that are built into the Keynote app. So those are fantastic for building up pictures or animations. And the final feature, I guess, that's unique to Keynote is the ability to animate. So we can animate shapes, we can animate text, we can animate images, and there's lots of different opportunities to get creative with these tools when used in various combinations. I love Keynote particularly for students with a disability because it can really appeal to lots of different learning strengths and learning styles. Through images and videos and shapes and things like that, it's very visual, so you can make learning very visual for your students. There are opportunities for you and for them to record your voice. So it appeals to that verbal sense of communication and being able to listen to instructions or to listen back to information. It ties in really nicely with the active component of learning because we can use our camera to capture all of that. In terms of interests, it's very easy to personalise and to have students have an opportunity to explore and express what's of interest to them, which of course helps with engagement as well. And we can use Keynote as a platform to really structure learning tasks, which we all benefit from structure when we're faced with a task. So our second part of the workshop today will look at how we can use Keynote as a platform to create a learning scaffold or a learning template for students to engage with. But we're going to start by looking at Keynote shapes and animations. So if you have your iPad ready, we're going to delve straight into Keynote in just a moment. The task we're going to look at is one that I have done with a class of students who are deaf. And what we did was the students were learning about different healthy eating options, healthy foods. And what we asked of them was to put together a lunch bag full of nice, delicious, healthy foods. So we incorporated a lot of vocabulary in there as well. What kinds of foods were they choosing? What were they called? How would they describe them? And so on. And the students used shapes, as you can see on the screen here, to bring their learning to life, so that they could have their healthy lunch bag with a nice little animation. They also added their own videos where they were signing in Auslan what their choices were and why they'd chosen them. So today we're going to have a look at how we can do this on Keynote. So when you open up the Keynote app, you'll be faced with something that looks a bit like this. And we're just going to create a new presentation today. So if you'd like to follow along, we're going to tap on Create Presentation, and then we're going to choose a theme. Keynote has a number of built-in themes that you can utilize. So they all have different fonts, different layouts, different color schemes. So it can be a really nice starting point if you are creating a presentation. Today we just really want Keynote as a bit of a blank canvas. So I'm just going to choose a basic white presentation. You can choose basic black, basic white, basic color, it doesn't really matter. But it's just going to give us a nice blank page to start to work from. So the first thing you'll notice is there's some text on the page. I don't really want text for this particular activity, so I'm just going to delete it by tapping on the text and then tapping on delete. And I'm going to repeat that. So tap on the text, tap on delete, tap on the text, tap delete. Great, so I've got my nice blank page to start off with. I'm going to change the colour first of all because white's a bit dull, a bit boring. So to edit anything in Keynote, I'm looking for this paintbrush icon at the top here. So when I tap on the paintbrush, one of the options is to change the background colour. I'm going to tap there, and I'm just going to swipe to the right, and you'll see there's lots of different preset colours that you can choose from. Or if you want to be more specific, you can tap on the colour menu and choose one of these different options. You can include a gradient, so if you can see on the screen here, it's slightly lighter at the top of the screen and darker at the bottom, so you can choose different colours and create your own sort of effect. And you can add an image as well. I'm just going to go back to my colour, and I'm just going to choose a purple colour for my background. Okay, now I can just tap anywhere on the screen to get rid of that menu. I'm now going to explore some of the shapes that I mentioned in Keynote. So when we want to add something, and we always look for the plus sign. So the plus up here at the top, I'm going to tap on here. And you'll see there's a range of different media that you can add, and photos, videos, you can tap straight into your camera, you can record audio, drawings, and so on. So I'll come back to that in just a bit, but at the moment I'm going to go to the second one to the right, which is our shapes menu. I'll just go back to the beginning here and show you there are lots of different basic shapes that you can add. So we've got 2D shapes, we've got 3D shapes, but then there are all these different objects that we can add as well. So this can be used to build up a picture or a poster or an infographic, or what we're going to do today is to animate them as well. So lots and lots of different things, different options in there, and really great to have a look and explore what's available. So I'm going to use the search tool to search for the object that I'm looking for. In this case, I'm looking for a shopping bag. Okay, so I'm tapping on the search bar. So I can either type in the word. So if I type in the word bag, for example, it will come up with the shopping bag. But perhaps I don't know how to spell the word. So I'm going to just delete that for a second and show you down here at the bottom of the screen, just next to the space bar, we've got our dictation icon. So we can use that in any app where you can use the keyboard. You can also use dictation. So I'm going to use that now just to dictate and say the word I'm looking for. Bag. Okay, and as you can see, it comes up there with the option that I'm looking for. So I'm going to select my shopping bag. And then from here, I'm going to increase the size because it's far too small at the moment. So in Keynote, we just need one finger on the corner of an item. So you see here with my mouse, it changes the icon. So we're going to make it nice and big. I'm just going to use my finger just to speed it up a bit. Okay, and you'll see the guidelines pop up to show you when it's sort of slap bang in the middle. Awesome, so I'm going to stick with that. And then with my editing tool up here, I can change the color of the bag. So I'm going to tap on here, tap on style, and then fill. So I can choose either any one of these presets colors, but I can tap on fill to bring me back to those more of those options. So I'm going to go with a brown paper bag, go a bit darker, there we go, and just tap anywhere on the page to continue. Now in a moment, I'm going to start adding different foods on top of the bag and animating those. So I don't want my bag to be moving around. My bag's going to be still on the screen. So I'm just going to lock that into place. So if you tap on your bag and then go back to your editing tools with the paintbrush, and then we go to arrange, and we can lock that into place. And all that means now, if you put your finger on your shape and try to move it, it won't move around unless you unlock it again. To unlock it, you just tap on the paintbrush and you can unlock it again from there. Okay, so I'm now going to start adding some fruits and vegetables, some healthy food. So again, back to the plus menu, I can cancel my search. I'm just going to go into food this time and just choose from what we have here. Okay, so I will choose avocado, just move it with one finger, and then again resize just by putting one finger in the corner and dragging it out to resize it. I'm going to go back and just add some more. I'll have a banana. We'll have an orange. Oops. And I'll add a couple more capsicum. And one more. Let's go for broccoli. All right, so now I've got all of my shapes in here. I can just change the colors like I did before with the bag. So I'm going to tap on the avocado, tap on the paintbrush, go back to the style menu, fill, color, and then choose the color that I'm looking for. Okay, so I'll do that for each of my shapes. Tap on the paintbrush, fill, color, and yeah, let's go a bit lighter for that one. And my orange, tap here, fill, color, orange. Back to this menu, banana, I'll just use this yellow color. My orange is a bit yellow, let's make that more orange. There we go. And capsicum, I'll make this a red one. Okay, so you've got your different fruits and vegetables. Even if you only have 2 or 3, that's fine, you'll be able to follow along with the next part. Okay, so now's the fun part. We're going to animate our shapes. So if you tap on one of your shapes, I'll select my avocado, you'll see it will pop up with an option to animate. Okay, so tap with your finger and it will give you the option to animate. And there's 3 different animation options. So you can add a build in, so that's how it appears on the slide in the first place. You can add an action, which is something that it does when it's on the slide. Or you can add a build out, which is how it disappears from the page. So today we're just going to focus on add build in. So I'm going to tap on there and you'll see there's lots of different options. So if you just tap on the option, you'll see that it gives you a bit of a preview of what that option looks like. Now, if you scroll along with your finger, there's lots and lots of different ones to choose from. I find that the students tend to love particularly these ones at the end. We've got flames, we've got fireworks, lots of different exciting options. So you can explore what you would like to include. When you've chosen one, so I'm happy with the sparkle for my avocado, I'm just going to tap on my capsicum, and you just need to tap twice to select that. And I'm going to repeat that process again. Add build in, add a different effect. So you can add the same effect or a different effect if you like. Tap on my broccoli, add build in. Let's have a bouncy broccoli. Here we go. The orange. Let's have skid. And then I'll go to my banana finally and add a build in, and let's say spin for my banana. Beautiful. Okay, so feel free to pause the video if you'd like, just to complete those steps. When you've done that, I'm just going to tap anywhere on the screen just to select, to unselect my objects. And what I'm going to do now is tap on done, because now I'm going to add a voice recording to go with my video. So let's tap done. Now I'm going to tap on the plus. And I'm going to go back to this menu on the far right, which is our media menu, and I'm going to record audio. So I'm just going to describe what I've included in my bag. So obviously you can change up whatever the requirements are for the students as you go. So I'm going to tap on record audio and then just tap record at the bottom of the screen. In my healthy lunch bag, I have an avocado, a capsicum, broccoli, orange, and a banana. Okay, so once you've added your voice recording, you can go back and listen to that again. You can edit it. You can press undo to have another go. But I'm just going to tap insert here. So you'll see it just appears in the middle of the screen. You can pop it anywhere. We're not going to see it in the end anyway, so it doesn't really matter where you put it. Okay, one final thing we're going to do before we export this as a movie. We're going to just check the order of our animations. So I'm going to tap on just one of my objects again and tap on animate. And it brings back up this blue banner along the top, which is our animation menu. Second from the right at the top, we've got these 3 dots and 3 lines. And this allows us to order our animations. So when I tap there, you'll see I've got the avocado comes first, then it's the green capsicum, and it happens on tap. So if you're using, if you're viewing it in presentation mode in Keynote, you have to tap each time for the objects to appear. So I might actually make that, I might actually change that and say after build 1. So I want it to happen automatically. So I might tap for the first one, and then the rest just happen automatically after the one before. So I'll just say after build 2. So you can have them happening at the same time or after, or you can add a specific number of seconds delay. And my audio recording at the moment doesn't start until all of my other animations have finished. So I want to change that. I want to make that the first thing that happens. Okay, so I've just put that right back up at the top. And then I want all of these things to happen at the same time as my audio recording. So I'm just going to tap on here and say with build 1. Okay, so now it will start, it will do it all in the right order. So the voice will start and then the fruits and vegetables will animate at the same time. You can tap preview to have a look at that. I'm just going to tap done. And then the last step is to export this as a video. So we're going to tap on three dots up here. This is our More menu, and this is where we have our sharing and export options. So I'm going to tap on Export, and I'm going to export that as a movie. Okay, now it gives you various different options here. I wouldn't worry too much about the settings up here at the top. Just make sure if you have more than one slide that you've chosen the particular slide or slides that you'd like to export. Go to next slide after. I would make that 0 because we only have one slide. We don't want a big gap at the end. And go to next build after. I would also make that 0. Okay, so just by tapping on the minus, you can bring those back down to 0 so that everything just happens nice and seamlessly. So I'll press export now. And it will give me the option to save the video. So I want to just save it into my camera roll. All right, I'm going to hop out of Keynote now and just go back to my camera, my photo album, and tap down here and watch my video. In my healthy lunch bag, I have an avocado, a capsicum, broccoli, orange, and a banana. And there we go. So nice little simple activity, but it can be used in lots of different ways. So if you imagine you could have an image of a backpack, for example, and students have to create an animation for what they need to pack in their school bag every day. So these could be shapes or they could be images. There could be, a suitcase. What do they need to pack when they're going on holiday or going on school camp? So lots of different sort of little ideas. I'm going to show you a few others that I've tried out in the past. So this one is using shapes and animation to retell a story. So it could be a story that the students have heard, or they could create their own little story. So I'll just show you a minute of this.
Once upon a time, there were 3 little pigs. They left home to find their fortune and had to build a house to live in. The first little pig built his house out of straw. But a big bad wolf came along and blew his house down.
The next example here is demonstration of a scientific concept. So here the students were learning about the pollination process, bees pollinating different flowers, and created an animation to demonstrate their understanding around that. And this is just my example to show them.
Pollination occurs when a bee lands on a plant or a flower and collects the pollen. When a bee moves from flower to flower, it spreads the pollen, and this allows the flower to reproduce. Without pollination, flowers and plants cannot create seeds. Bees take the pollen back to their hives to feed their entire colony.
The last example I'd just like to show you, this is a student example where he used shapes and Keynote in a maths lesson. So we're looking at grouping items into equal sets, and this is what he came up with.
Apple shared with 4 baskets with 3 in each. Bowl donuts shared with 3 bags with 4 in each. Parrots shared with 5 pens with 3 in each.
Okay, so hopefully you can see there's lots of different opportunities for using shapes and animation with your students. Okay, we're going to move on for our second half of the workshop, looking at how to create learning scaffolds with Keynote. So as I said, this is the part that can create the structure around the task. So what you see on the screen here is just an example of a task. This was a sort of introductory task all about me. And these are screenshots from the template that was shared with the students. So we'll delve into the template and some of the specifics of that in just a moment, but I thought I'd like to show you just a couple of examples from a few students. So these are examples from Max and Bonnie's work. So on the first page, the students were asked to create their name. So at the top here, they were asked to take photographs of the letters of their name from around the room and then order them correctly on the page. And then at the bottom, they were using the drawing tools in Keynote to write their names in different colours. So this task could link in really nicely with spelling or vocabulary activities that you're doing with the students. You could adopt a sort of similar approach with that, where they have to build up the words that they're learning. On this page, the students had to draw a picture of their family. So again, using the drawing tools that are built into Keynote to do that. And they were also asked to include a voice recording to talk about their family. So here's Max's example.
This is my family. This is my mum, my dad, and me, and my dog.
So that sort of approach could be used for, again, maybe retelling a story that the students have heard or recounting an experience that they've had. Or it could be for creating their own stories as well. Here we've got the opportunity for students to use emojis. I find that when you give students a chance to use emojis, then they're automatically engaged and they love to explore the different options that are there. It's something that they're generally quite familiar with too. And it's, yeah, as I say, something that they really enjoy and they can really make it personal to them. So here the students were just asked to select some emojis to represent things that they liked, activities and things that they liked. But because with emojis you've got the little faces with a whole range of different emotions, I like to use it also for sort of well-being tasks and maybe like a check-in in the morning or after the weekend or after recess, to get students to sort of think about how they're feeling and to select an emoji that helps to convey that message to you. So emojis can be really good to be used in that sort of way as well. Here we've got another example of the drawing tool being used for handwriting. So students can practice either with a stylus or a pencil, Apple Pencil. They can practice their handwriting skills or even just with their finger. And here we've got a sequence of photographs or a series of photographs. This could be used for sequencing activities, so thinking about maybe building a daily schedule, so having students involved in that, or sequencing events, again from a text perhaps that they've read. They could be sequencing illustrations through a range of different images. We've had a look at the shapes and how we can utilise those in different ways. Again, just kind of calling out the opportunities to include that in maths activities. So it could be sorting by colour or matching objects that are the same, or grouping objects into various categories. So yeah, lots of different ways that those shapes can be used. And finally, the final part of this task was for students to create a short video using the Clips app. So there's a bit of app smashing here. So students created a video in Clips, which is another native Apple app, which is amazing, and definitely recommend checking that out if you haven't already. And then adding that into their Keynote presentation. So that's what makes Keynote so great, that you can bring in this content created from other apps like GarageBand or Clips and have it all in one spot. So this was Bonnie's example of her favourite animals.
I like foxes because they run fast, and I like unicorns because they have rainbow horns.
So again, you can see how the emojis come in there, and students really love to sort of explore those and select the ones that they like. Clips Can be really great for video modelling as well. So if you want to be looking at desired behaviours with students, Clips is a really great platform to create those short engaging videos for students, or a social story perhaps for them to go back and revisit. So when we're creating these learning scaffolds, obviously the students had something to start from there. They had something to work with. It wasn't just being faced with a blank page, which we can find quite overwhelming. These are some of the key things that I like to just consider and think about when I'm creating learning scaffolds. So using shapes to divide up the page and being able to edit those. Using shapes as icons as well. So on those pages, you probably noticed there were icons like a pencil or a camera. So again, giving that visual cue to students of what you're looking for. And we can create placeholders, which make it easier for students just to add the content that they want to add. We can add audio support, so you can explain instructions. We can group items and duplicate them to save time, and we can lock items into place like we saw with the healthy lunch bag at the beginning. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to just delve into that template and just show you how it was created, and we can have a go at creating our own page. So here's the example, all about me. So what you'll notice on the pages is I have used different, different sort of colours and shapes to divide up the page. So it visually, my aim was that it was quite clear for students that, this is the spot where I want them to add a response. We've also used shapes to as those icons, like I mentioned, like the pencil and the camera and the arrow. Again, just guiding the students to this is where I want you to add your response. And we've also got voice recordings as well. So these are instructions. At the top here, we've just got, this is just me reading out the title. And here I've got some instructions. So I'll just let you have a listen to that.
Can you find the letters of your name on objects around the room? Tap on plus, then tap on camera and take a picture of each letter from your name. Then sort them in the right order.
So that can be really good to just enable students to have that little bit more independence. So you would, of course, explain the task and model the task with the students, but then when they go off to complete it, you want them to have the confidence to go ahead and do that without having to come back and ask you constantly, oh, what did I have to do here? What can you remind me about this? It's just giving them that control over being able to access those instructions more than one time. Here on the next page, I've got those voice recordings again, using the microphone icon because the task involved the student recording their voice. But down here, rather than having just an audio instruction, I've actually included a video instruction, which I've made using clips. So I'll just show you a little bit of that now.
Draw a picture of your family, then record your voice to tell us all about them. First tap on plus, then tap on drawing. Choose from the different drawing tools.
Okay, I'll just pause that now, but you get the idea. So it can be audio instructions or video instructions that really help to support students' understanding and independence. We've also used some emojis on the pages, again, just that bringing back that visual cue of what you're looking for on those particular pages. We're going to have a go at making a page that's a bit like this one. So again, I would invite you to, if you're in your healthy lunch bag presentation still in Keynote, just tap on presentations and that will bring you out. And we're going to create a new presentation. So I'm just going to demonstrate, I guess, some of those things to think about when you are creating a template that you then share out with your students. Same as before, I'm going to go with a basic template, basic white, basic black. And I'm going to just tap to delete the text that's on the page. Like before, I'm going to change the background colour using the formatting menu. So again, you can choose any colour you like. I might go with a blue. Okay, so any colour. And then I'm going to add a shape. So I'm going to add like a banner along the top of the screen with my title. So I'm going to tap on the plus, go back to the shapes menu where we were before. And I'm going to go back to my basic shapes. And I'm just going to use this one today, the square. And with one finger, we can just enlarge that and stretch it out a bit further. So just get it to the kind of size that you'd like and stretch it out across the page. And I'm going to change the colour of that. So using the paintbrush again, I can go to fill and I'm going to just choose the pink colour. So you see, nice and easy, you start to break up the page and just make it a bit easier for students to see what's happening where. All of the shapes you can also type into as well. So this can make it really good for students if you want to include a text box, for example, for them to type something into. You can add a shape just like we have done here. So I'm going to use that to add my heading. So you just double tap inside the shape. I'm going to start off by using an emoji, like I mentioned before, another good visual cue. So just tapping down here where we've got the smiley face takes you to your emojis. So you can either search for something or you can look for something that you've recently used. I just searched for colour before and I found this paint pad. So I'm going to add that. I'm going to go back to my text and add a space. I'm going to type my favourite colour. Again, you could use the dictation tool as well if you wanted to do that. I'm going to get rid of my keyboard now. Obviously, it's very small for a heading. So with this shape selected, I can tap on the paintbrush and go to my text option in the middle. From here, I can change the font. So if we tap on here, you can change to whichever type of font that you think is best. Go back to text. You can change the text color if you want. I'm going to leave mine white today. And you can change the size and the style. So if you can go up and down just one step at a time with the plus and the minus, or you can tap where it says the number next to size and I'm going to try 100 and see how that looks. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so then just tap over here when you're done with that. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do, so with my favourite colour, that task involved using the pencil to write or using your finger to write. So I'm going to add an icon, a shape icon. So again, here I'm going to go to my search tool and I'm going to search for pencil. And I'm going to add that in. I'm going to make it a bit bigger and change the colour. So when I go back to my paintbrush, I need to go back to style, fill, I'll make it white. I'm going to go back a step now to the style menu again. I'm going to press arrange because I want to tilt the pencil so it's on a bit of an angle. So I can tap on rotate under the arrange menu and then just use this wheel here to rotate it however you want it to be. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to pop that over there. And what I had in the last one was like an arrow that was pointing to the space where I wanted the students to add their response. So I might just go back to here and search for arrow. This will do. Again, I'll change my colour. Paintbrush, style, fill, and change the colour. I'm going to make that just a bit bigger and move that over here. Now I'm going to add another shape just to show students where to actually write their answer. So I'm going to use my plus again. I'll just cancel my search. Just going to use this rounded rectangle this time. It doesn't really matter what you use, but I'm going to stretch that out, make it nice and big. And then I'm going to change the color of that as well. Fill. There we go. All right, at the bottom, I had the student take 3 different photographs of, she chose the color pink, and she had 3 different photographs of pink objects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an image placeholder. So this, again, just makes it easier for students to actually add their image in the right spot. So the first thing if you're adding an image placeholder is to use the plus sign. And we're going to go back over here to our media menu. And we're going to choose a photo or a video as a placeholder. So you can choose any photo or video that you have in your camera roll. I have in my albums, I've got a favorites album, and I've actually saved an image of the camera icon, the iPad camera icon, which I just got from an internet search. So I've got that here now, and that's, you know, a really recognizable sign for students that it's a photograph that you want them to include. So I'm just going to make that a bit smaller, and I'm going to make that a placeholder so that when the students actually tap on the image, it will prompt them to add their own picture. So with the image selected, I'm going to tap on the paintbrush again and set that as a placeholder. So you'll see that this little plus sign, I'll clear that again and show you again. So when I tap set as a placeholder, this plus sign pops up at the bottom. So what I want to do now is, I'll show you what that looks like first of all. So if I tap on that plus, you'll see it goes straight to choose a photo or a video or take one with the camera. So it's just nice and simple for the students to go straight into. I'm going to duplicate this because I want more than one placeholder. So if you just tap on it and tap copy, then just tap anywhere on the screen and tap paste, it will just come up with another copy. So I'm going to do the same again, just tap on the screen anywhere and tap paste. And you'll see those yellow lines help you to sort of space things out and just make it exactly how you want it to look. Okay, a couple of things just before we are ready to share with students. We want to lock some of these things into place because we don't want them to be moving around when students are trying to add their own content. That's just going to get really frustrating. So I'm going to tap firstly on my shape at the top, tap on the paintbrush, arrange, and lock. And I just repeat that for all the shapes that I want to lock. So tap on the shape, paintbrush, arrange, lock. Same here, paintbrush, arrange, and lock. And I'm going to do it with this one as well. I'll lock that one too. Now I'm not going to lock the placeholders because if I do, then they're no longer a placeholder. So I need to leave those ones unlocked so that the students can access that plus button to add their own content. I'm also going to add voice recordings. So I'll just show you again how to do that. So with the plus button at the top, I'm going to access this media menu, record audio, and then tap on record at the bottom. My favorite color. Okay, so once you've got your recording, again, you can preview it, you can edit it, you can delete it and start again, or you can insert it. So this time I'm going to pop it over here. And with my paintbrush, I'm also going to lock that into place. So you can still play a voice recording. Oops. popped it in the wrong place. You can still play a voice recording even when it's locked. Okay, so I'm just going to tap on the paintbrush and tap lock. And then you can add your instructions in here as well. Once you've created one page, rather than having to create each individual page separately, we can duplicate this page. So just by tapping on the thumbnail icon over on the left-hand side, we can tap on duplicate, and it will just create a slide that's exactly the same. So I would suggest before you start locking things into place, then duplicate your slides, and then it's easier just to go back and edit them and play around with them. That can make it easy to I guess, differentiate for different students as well. If you've got one copy of a template and you think, oh, for this other student, I'd like to make it slightly different, you can sort of design that in much the same way as well. Also, I should say a scaffold or a template needn't be any more than one page. So if you just wanted it to be something that's on one page, that's absolutely great. And you can share that out with students in just the same way. So how do we share? So over on the right hand side here, we've got this circle with 3 dots inside. So I'm going to tap on that circle. And again, last time you saw we used the export option to export as a movie. This time we're just going to share because we want it to be shared as a Keynote file. And you can see you can airdrop that to devices that are around you. Okay, so if you're in Bluetooth range with your students, you can airdrop it to them. It will just pop up straight away on their iPads. They don't have to go looking for it in a file management system. It's really nice and simple. Another option is to use the Classroom app. So Apple Classroom has an app that allows you to share content with your whole class at one time. I'll just mention that again just before we finish and show you where you can find out some more information about Apple Classroom, but it's a super resource, and particularly in this special ed setting. So I'd just like to draw your attention to some resources that I hope will be useful and helpful, relating back to what we've looked at today. First of all, there's the Apple Teacher Learning Centre. So this is an online free resource for teachers and educators to access. All you need to access it is an Apple ID and your password. So when you log into the Apple Teacher Learning Centre, there's a spot you can go to find out more about Keynote. So when you log in, you'll see there is this section on foundational skills. So if you tap into foundational skills and then scroll down, in the middle here, this is where you'll find out more information about Classroom. And then over on the left is where you'll find out more information about the basic iPad apps. So if we scroll down, you can see Keynote. And if we scroll down again, you'll see all the different skills. So a lot of what we've looked at today, using shapes, using drawing tools, animations. So anything that you need to revisit, you can do that through the Apple Teacher Learning Centre. Another fantastic resource is the Everyone Can Create series. This is available, again, you can scan this QR code on the screen. Sets out some really amazing activities for students to engage with to bring these creative elements into any curriculum area that you happen to be covering at the time. So it's absolutely fantastic. Starts with basic skills and gets really more complex. Might be something that you just want to use yourself as a teacher and then just pick out little parts to use with the students, or in some cases you might be able to use the guides actually alongside the students as they go along. So there are 4 guides for photo, video, music and drawing, and then there's also 2 teacher guides as well. For special ed, I would recommend the Early Learners Guide would be a really good place to start. And just show you some of those really creative activities that your students can engage with. Linked to those resources is another set of amazing activities on this webpage, Creativity for Kids. These are intended to be sort of standalone activities that students can either do at home or in class. You'll see one here on the screen, tell a story with shapes. That's very similar to what we looked at before. So these are amazing, all using free apps, all using built-in tools on the iPad, and a really nice way to sort of get into that creative mindset. And then finally, I'd just like to call out the fact that Apple have done a really, really great job of thinking about accessibility across all of their products, and so whether it's hardware like the iPad or the Mac, or the software like Keynote, and thinking about how to make sure everyone can access those. There's a whole lot of different accessibility tools that are built into the iPad, so depending on the needs of your students, there's probably something there that will help them and support them in their learning. And there's a really great website to go along with that and to explain. So again, you can scan the QR code on the screen now to find out more about that. That rounds off our workshop for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope it was useful. Feel free to go back and revisit, and you might want to pause certain bits or go back over them again. That's the beauty of the recording. If you'd like to reach out to me, my contact details are on the screen. I would love to hear from you if you'd like to share any ideas for how you might use some of these approaches with your students, or if you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch. So I hope that was enjoyable, and I hope you have lots of fun exploring these tools with your students. Thank you so much.